the truth comes out, when the truth comes out, you can run, but you know it's ending. At the bottom of the grave, you're digging out.
All right, so with all the news going on now with Fosse lying about everything, right, including forced masking of our kids, I want to show you this old interview I did with Newsmax from like 4 years ago. And it was about my son in Downers Grove South High School. He was punished because he got a little bit of dad in him, and he led the charge of going to school without masks. And so now that we have Fosse, he's bragging about school closings. They find these old clips and text messages and stuff, right? His lies altered our children's childhood in school. My kids were going freshmen when this first started. And it was a mission that the masks were publicly motivated, forced masking on our kids. So I was pissed off back then. And I made a mockery of them. I bought these masks from this company that were like mesh. You could see your face. I sent my daughter, she follows the rules like mom. My son is more like me. And teachers got pissed off. And the second week, said, Mr. Newsom, you can't come to school anymore if we can see your lips through that mask. You got to get a different mask. So I put a double one on. You still could, it was not the same as wearing a full mask. I would wear hillbilly masks. I was insulting. I'd show up to school board meetings with hillbilly masks on. I'd wear a t-shirt that sat right in front of this arrogant Marxist superintendent, said, fuck your mask. One of the school board meetings, I walked around right in front of their live camera where they film it, and I'm standing with the FU, fuck your mask t-shirt, and I'm looking right in the camera, and I'm looking around, they're filming. You know what's ironic is this is before I became an two-time elected committeeman, is the Republicans in this Downers Grove area were upset with me wearing that t-shirt. They were upset. One guy had the nerve to come up to me, I didn't even know, and say, I appreciate it if you don't wear that shirt next time. It was like kind of like, fuck you. He goes, it's offensive. I go, it's offensive. They're giving us kids strap-on blowjob books. Don't tell me about offensive. Of course, I didn't listen to them. And, to this day, I don't listen to the Republicans. They're a bunch of irrelevant nothings. So, all kinds of goofy, funny masks. I made fun of them all the time. So my son had the opportunity to lead the charge on going to school without masks. And the school board hates me. So my son shows up, and what do they do to my son? Because he didn't wear a mask. And this is right when the state of Illinois was going to be told they couldn't force us anymore. But this is before it was fully implemented, right? They made an example of my kid. They put him in a fishbowl glass room. The walls all glass, so when the kids come into the cafeteria, they can see him sitting there, right? My kid don't care. He's goofing around, but they punished him. They segregated him by himself. And then the other kids that were doing the same thing as him that were revolting against masks, they put him in a different room somewhere else. And they had my son sit the whole day so everybody could see him. They put him on display. And so I was on Newsmax about that. And I sent them photos of my son. One of the photos you'll see, he's looking down like he's all sad and depressed, right? He was actually playing on his phone. And so I didn't send him the photo where my cocky young son was doing a double bicep into one of the kids took a picture. And I didn't expect them to show that photo during my Newsmax interview because I was telling my poor son, he's humiliated. Wait till you see these pictures. And right in the middle of my interview, he throws up the double bicep. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to say my son's all upset when he's being cocky, little Italian kid, right? So the interview is pretty cool. The guy interviewing me from Newsmax, I had him my kid wear a Let's Go Brandon t-shirt on purpose, right? Because it was kind of back then, if you remember, it was kind of like F-U Brandon, right? And so I forgot the name of the host on Newsmax said, well, is that maybe why they're punishing your kid? I'm like, no, I told him to wear that t-shirt. So here's the Newsmax clip. Hope you enjoy it. And fuck those guys forcing masks on our kids, and Fosse and all those scumbags that hurt our kids. We were all right. We were correct. All of us parents that fought back were right. And look what's happening now. And nothing's happened to these scumbags.
Welcome back to American Agenda. An Illinois father is speaking out after his son was suspended from school for not wearing a mask. maybe that was it. The 15-year-old boy was told by school members that he, in fact, had to wear a mask and was then taken into a room within the school where he was instructed to wait. Joining us now to tell us more about what happened is the boy's father, Terry Newsom. Terry, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us what happened then.
Hi, Bob. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I think everyone probably heard what went on in Illinois on Friday. A judge ruled that Pritzker's order is illegal. It's called a TRO suit, and within that, there were 700 students of 1 million in Illinois that signed up for the suit. What the judge ruled was that what Pritzker is doing is illegal. But in the meantime, it wasn't considered a class action lawsuit yet, and that's open for debate in the future. So basically, the parents are, like everyone else in the country, were very, very frustrated, right? It's been such a tragic for the kids. So we are sending our kids to school. Lots of them in our area are sending their kids to school without masks. So my son Anthony went without a mask, and then he was taken by the dean. He's going to kill me for that photo. So my son's on the wrestling team and football, and they locked him up in like a fishbowl room right by the cafeteria. Some of the wrestlers went by and took that picture of him. So anyway, they locked him in there because they said it's not in effect for everyone, and that is in fact true. But from the ruling, from the judge here, our school likes to be very big in inclusivity, and so do the parents, right? So if this was ruled, the court finds the plaintiffs have protectable interests not to be subjected to any mandate by the governor. The defendants do not, the schools have the authority to require masking, close contact exclusion, vaccinations, and or testing in schools unless it's voluntary.
Okay.
So if that is illegal for 2 children, a lot of these schools in Illinois are now moving to mask optional, right? With everything we've disclosed.
Yeah, but let me ask you about your son, just so we understand the story. Was he allowed to go back to school, or is he?
He's locked up right now. No, he's at school. He's in that same room. My understanding from the other kids is that he's the only one in that room right now, which is like right by the cafeteria where you can walk.
So is he able to see the classes? I'm not saying that's the way they should do it, but he's not able to even.
No, they got 70 kids and some more kids got confidence from my son yesterday. Another adjacent school from here in Hinsdale has 400 kids in the auditorium, locked in there all day, sitting there. My son
and they're not able to get on their computers to watch like they did at home, forced to do at home last year?
No, they have to do their own homework ad hoc, just sitting there, just sitting there.
And now, how much do you think it had to do with the T-shirt he's wearing?
Oh, no, we knew that was going to happen. I told him to wear that T-shirt. We knew that was going to happen.
You told him to wear the T-shirt. You're getting your son in trouble.
No, he was in trouble before that because, our school...
Let me ask you this. Is he still allowed to wrestle for the school?
Well, they're in their last 2 weeks, and he's got an infection in his knee. Not an infection, I mean, something...
Like a staph infection. I know wrestling... Yeah.
But there's other boys that want to participate because they have sectionals coming up.
Okay.
And we got a threatening letter from the superintendent saying that there's consequences, and of course there's consequences, right? But the kids that are going to sectionals, they can't even take the chance, right? Because they don't, and that makes sense.
Right. I mean, everybody's making their decisions, and some people are compromising what they might believe and say, well, I consider wrestling more important than not wearing a mask. Let me ask you this. When they wrestle, which, by the way, is the most personal thing you can do athletically, in my opinion. I played football, basketball, baseball, but part of football, some of our training was wrestling. That is, you were right. Do they wear masks doing that?
So you're going to find this funny. I got boy-girl twins, right? My daughter finished volleyball, right? Open volleyball. Compared to wrestling, the poor girls had to wear masks in volleyball.
No, I know. My girls played volleyball, too, and they had to wear masks, which was preposterous. But just, do they have to wear masks wrestling?
So wrestling started right after football and volleyball. So I get an email from they're freshmen, so it's new to me, about wrestling practice. I said, hey, coach, I'm assuming they have to wear a mask. And he said, no, just to get to the wrestling room. So I go to the wrestling matches. Matter of fact, this last weekend, the kids have no masks on when they're wrestling.
Oh,
it just shows the inconsistency. I didn't want to complain
Right.
about that,
Right.
because I didn't want them to go back and make these poor boys say, "Hey, my daughter has to wear a mask in volleyball,"
right.
but the wrestlers are sweating and dripping on each other. Don't. It doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's like that's part of this whole thing. We're trying to teach the kids to stand up for themselves.
Right.
And typically, you wouldn't want this to affect their education. My kids are great students.
Yeah.
I'm like
Yeah.
that, and you don't want them to impact.
Well,
Right, point average.
by the way, this year my girls playing volleyball, they were allowed to not wear the mask at home, but then on away games they had to wear them. I don't know how that works, but a crazy world, Terry. I think everybody feels for you, and I hope this turns out better for you. I hope this mask craziness. Go ahead, last word.
I say one thing. So tomorrow night I'm hosting a pizza party with TPUSA for the kids to come together off-site because it's not sanctioned by the school, and to try to get them involved to have another view besides the radical left side view.
Yeah,
So
how do
I'm
they get in
hosting a
touch? How do they get in touch?
Just look on Our Opinions Matter D99 Facebook page. Our Opinions Matter D99 Facebook. You'll see the posting and the address.
All right, Terry.
Thank you so much, Bob.